Hello there, welcome to the channel. Today I'm making this a small stool or bench. Maybe I'm gonna use it as a piano bench, we'll see. But with this woven paper cord seat, which I've always wanted to do. But the first part is making building materials. I'm using an old fence post here, which I've made a lot of projects from these oak fence posts over the years. And basically it's just about cutting it up into some pieces that are suited for the project. And well, you can use whatever tools you have available. A table saw would be fitting, but I don't have that, so I'm using the miter saw to cut the length, and the track saw to cut it or to rip it. And just the band saw as well to take the middle part there, because the track saw won't go all the way through. And yeah, I'm not chasing any specific sizes. It is pretty much just what this fence post will do. So I'm gonna need 4 legs, and then at this point I thought I needed 8 pieces to sort of make a ring in the top and a ring at the bottom, but I changed the design a little later. So it's some pretty basic framing joints I'm using in this project. It's all the same mortise, the same tenon. It's just whether it's oriented vertically or horizontally is depending on whether it's the top or the bottom. I don't have a lot of theoretical knowledge about it. It's just that's what felt right, and I think it's plenty strong either way. And yeah, from now on it's hand tools only. Japanese saw, which can both cross cut and rip cut, which I find very handy. And then the chisel to take that little part off there. And this is the tenon that's gonna be used all over the project. And it's not any, well, it is a specific size, but not something I intentionally made it. It's just the longer part of it is that stick, and the smaller side of it is my measuring stick there, the width of that. And so I have that handy at all times, and so I'm sure it's the same every time I draw it, whether it's on a mortise or on a tenon. And yeah, I guess it's worth mentioning that I'm making all the mortises and tenons at this point before shaping the pieces. So these are just the rough shape, and that's because everything is, well, pretty square at least at this point, and so it's easier to make the joints fit together at this point, whether or instead of doing it when all the corners around it and all that stuff. And yeah, so it's just about fitting each joint and making sure to not mix up the different pieces. And the material here is oak, and I have used it for a lot of projects earlier, but not. I haven't planed it that much or worked with the chisel in it, so I was a little uncertain of how it would do. But it was very nice to carve into, even though it is quite dense. So that's sort of the basic construction. And the next process is refining all the parts. And it turned out to be 11 parts because I changed the design of the what was I thought was going to be a ring at the bottom, and instead it's sort of an H shape. So it just has one of the long pieces in the middle instead of out from one leg to another, which was good because I messed up one piece, and might be this one. I think you can see it on some of the footage, and it is actually about to break, and later in the project it does break. Yeah, you can see it here. And so this part I had to redo later, and so it was good that I made 12 raw pieces, so I had an extra. This little spoke shape is made out of the same material. It was sort of a little project inside the project. It's an old chisel that broke. The part that went into the handle broke off, and so couldn't use it as a chisel anymore, so I cut it in pieces and made a little plane out of it. And then I thought, well, if I made it another casing for it, I could make sort of a spoke shape out of it as well, so I can just switch the blade from one block of wood to another. And this here is me shaping one of the legs. At the top it's sort of just rounding the corners, but at the bottom I tried to round it over quite a bit more to sort of make a quarter radius of a circle. So at the top it's sort of just a square with the rounded corners, but at the bottom I've taken off more material to make it a little more round, a little lighter. And so here I thought I was ready to assemble the main frame. But as I went to make this, the one piece broke in half, and so I had to redo it. I did at the same time glue the pieces together, but I'd actually done that earlier in the process as well, and just forgotten that I had to be a little careful around that piece, and then I forgot, and I thought I might as well just make a new one. And well, doesn't it? I think it took, I don't know, less than half an hour to make a new piece from scratch. That's a good part of having tried the whole process, and knowing all the sizes, all the decisions are made, and you know how to do it, and so it doesn't take that long to redo a piece, as long as you have a bit of material lying around you can use for it. And so I'm happy I got to redo this piece instead of having it just glued back together. This turned out to be nicer than the glued up part. And basically there is, because it's an old fence post, there is knots and all sorts of stuff going on in the different pieces, and you just sort of have to go around that. And so yeah, this is what I've been looking forward to for years, I think. I'm based in Denmark, and so I'm not quite sure about the story of this paper cord weaving, but it seems to be somewhat a Danish thing, and so I've always wanted to try that, and so this is the first time for me trying it. Well, the tricky part is actually the corners, and so that's a little, well, it's a steep learning curve, because that is the first thing you have to do, and this is just a little bit of extra weaving in the corners to sort of get it started. So I made this little holder for the string, so I could have a lot of it. Well, not for a whole seat, but for, I don't know, I think a quarter of a seat or something like that. It turned out to be. I could have on one of those. And so I don't know what I'm doing here. I watched a video on YouTube, and then I'm just trying my best. But it is a little tricky around the corners, especially in the beginning, because don't have any experience, so you don't quite know what you're doing, and the corners are quite important to get right. I'm not fully satisfied with it. I'm satisfied with it for like a first weave, but I might actually take it off and do it again, because later on I can see that it gets a lot better the more you do it. As well, I might mention that it's a good idea to wear a glove. I didn't, and 3 or 4 hours later, when this was done, I had blisters on both sides of my right hand, which is the one I used to tighten the string with. So a glove would be preferable. But once you get going, it's quite meditative, as so many other things in woodworking and crafts. You get into the rhythm, and time goes by without you noticing, really. And then about this point it gets a little more tricky, because this thing I have wound the string around can't get the hole becomes too small for it, so you have to sort of just have the string loose at some point. But I think I saw somebody that just has a loose string from the beginning, and so you can do that as well. This is not necessarily the right way, as always. There's a ton of different ways to do everything, so this is just one way to do it. And yeah, so the middle part there is just from one side to the other. Just threading it through the middle there. And the tricky part is, of course, that in those from the corner and into the middle, there's actually more material than there is space, if you can say it like that. So you have to press the string into the string going the opposite direction, and as well, to some extent, in here at the middle, there's not room for the string or the strings full mass, you could say. So you have to sort of push them together. So that's about it. The last knot is tied at the bottom there. So, time to stand the test, see if it can hold anything. And it actually does. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.